Hey, what's up everybody, it's Axel, and today we're going to be talking about the Xenns Tea Pro, a $360 hybrid IEM that has 2 dynamic drivers and 6 balanced armatures. First up, I want to talk about what comes in the box, because I think Xenns really did a good job here. What comes inside is, here's what you get. You get this carrying case, which is a zipper carrying case. Hard on the top and the bottom, and it's actually very protective. You get a storage pouch, you get a shirt clip and a cleaning brush, and you get 3 pairs of wide bore silicone ear tips, another pair of narrow bore silicone ear tips. Both are in 3 different sizes, and you get 2 pairs of foam ear tips. You get a modular cable that has a swappable 3.5 and 4.4 terminations. Both are provided in the box, and of course you get the earpieces themselves. Now before I start, I just want to take a moment to appreciate the accessory lineup here, because when you get something like this, kind of gives you a good feeling even before you start listening to the IEM, so thumbs up from me. Now when it comes to the cable itself, it's slightly stiff, just slightly, and it does have some memory if you leave it on the desk. Not a big issue, honestly. Thankfully, it's not microphonic, which is the most important aspect for me, and it's a win in my book. The chin slider is a bit loose, but that's a minor nitpick here. Something I do appreciate here is this modular design. It is a screw-in mechanism, so this makes it, you know, very comfortable if you want, and practical if you want to use it with dongles or amp. And because the screw-in mechanism is very convenient, it's not going to come loose when you take it outside. Now let's look at the build, which is the standout feature of the Tea Pro. This is how they look like. They look gorgeous. They have a very attractive resin faceplate. The whole body here is a metal shell. It has a metal nozzle, and I will let you guys decide how they look. What do you guys think? I think this is an attractive faceplate that looks gorgeous. It actually feels and looks premium. This mix of material, metal and resin, actually feels very nice. I do prefer all resin shells myself, but I know plenty of folks who love the durability and heft of metal builds, so if that's your thing, you're going to love it here. As for the fit, it gets a bit tricky for me because the nozzle is short, as you can see, and it's a bit stubby and angled, which makes it a bit tough for me to get a deep fit. The earpieces themselves are a bit chunky as well, so they kind of sit slightly outside my ear. I found myself every 10 minutes trying to push them inside. But that said, comfort wise, it's great for me. I wore them for hours and hours without any discomfort. Nozzle diameter is 6.2 millimeters, which is average for most IEMs, and noise isolation is right about average. So let's talk about the most important aspect, which is the sound. How does the Xenns Tea Pro sound like? What is the tuning like? The Xenns Tea Pro has a neutral with a bass tuning, which is actually my favorite type of tuning. And one advantage of this type of tuning is that it makes it a great all-rounder to listen to most music genres. Number one, when it comes to the bass, I think the mid-bass of the Tea Pro here is the star of the show. It's punchy, dynamic, textured, and it has great level of detail. Something I really like when I listen to the Tea Pro is that you can listen to a track that has different types of bass, and you can actually hear the difference between different qualities of the bass. For example, you can listen to bass guitar plugs, you can listen to drum kicks, you can listen to synthetic bass, and you can really hear the difference in the quality and the detail. The sub bass is present, but it does take a backseat to the mid bass, which kind of dominates the overall bass presentation. The bass decay is fast, it keeps everything clean, it's well defined, and it's not overwhelming at the same time. Overall, it's engaging and definitely a highlight of the Tea Pro. For me, the best aspect of the Tea Pro is its mid-bass presentation, not only in the quantity but the quality as well. The texture and the detail is actually great. Move on to the mid-range. There is a slight bass bleed, but I don't think you will notice it that much. The mids actually are very clear. Although there is a slight bass bleed, the mids are very clear and detailed. They have a nice open presentation to them, and for example, female vocals in particular do sound airy and well extended. The mid-range here prioritizes clarity over richness, and this gives it a different tonality when it comes to the mid-range. Instruments like flutes, saxophones, and snare drums do kind of stand out, and it gives the mid-range kind of an open highlighted feel. We get good note weight, and if I had to sum it up in 2 words, I will say the mid-range of the Tea Pro sounds clear and open. When it comes to the treble here is where it gets a bit tricky for me. The treble is very airy, it's very crisp, and it adds a sense of space and detail that's actually very enjoyable. But it could get a bit sharp for me or a bit fatiguing. Personally, I'm a treble sensitive listener, but I did notice some emphasized S sounds and sh sounds, you know, on many tracks, and there's even some instances of sibilance. I will give a few examples. If you listen to Daft Punk, Get Lucky, 1 minute 37 seconds, you start to notice that. Notorious B.I.G., the track Juicy, the first 20 seconds are a bit intense for me to listen to. Another track is Big Papa. At the moment where it gets into 20 seconds, you start to notice the treble getting a bit more intense. This happened at mid-volume, but lowering the volume helps. So if you are treble sensitive, you might want to tread carefully here. That said, if you like an emphasized, energetic, and actually airy, great sounding treble, the T Pro might be right up your alley. Now let's talk about the technical performance. On the technical front, the T Pro is not a detail-focused set, but it holds its own. I will describe the resolution and detail as great, but not exceptional for the price, because there will be other IEMs that cost less that can match or even outperform it in this area. For example, I will rank the Blessing 3 Dusk and the Elysian Pilgrim as more resolving. If I rank this up on the technical scale, I will put the T Pro, like let's say 70% between the Truth Ear Nova and the Elysian Pilgrim, which is a solid place to be. What stands out for me though is the T Pro's level of separation, layering, stage, and imaging. These are standout qualities for the T Pro that I personally enjoyed. They are fantastic. It gives the T Pro an immersive experience, whether you're listening to music or you're gaming with them. Soundstage is above average, and you have to understand when I use the word soundstage, we use it because, you know, for lack of a better term. But IEMs do, you know, sound more spacious and different than each other. And I think here the T Pro does sound wide and spacious and above average. So the overall sound is very open. Imaging is precise and has accurate positioning across all frequencies, including the bass. The bass here is localized, and if you listen, you can pinpoint where the bass is coming from. Didn't I say that the bass here is the standout feature? So for gaming, these spatial cues are spot on. And, you know, when the bass is localized like that, along with the stage and layering and separation, you're going to have great fun because you're going to pinpoint where the footsteps are coming from, and you're going to be able to listen to a lot of details in the soundscape. So for me, after the bass, the soundstage, the imaging, the layering are the second most impressive aspects. Overall, I enjoyed listening to the T Pro, but let's talk about the comparison segment. I will compare them to two other IEMs. First up is the Performance 7. I want to do this comparison because these are neck and neck. Both of these IEMs are visually stunning, all right? The T Pro has a slightly bulkier metal shell with a resin faceplate, shorter nozzle, it's angled and premium. It has a metal nozzle as well, so if you prefer that, you know, you love the heft and durability aspect of the metal, you're going to love it on the T Pro. If you like a smaller, lighter earpiece, I think the Performance 7 wins here. When it comes to the comfort and fit, for me, both IEMs are very comfortable. I could wear both for hours without any discomfort, but in terms of the fit, the Performance 7 gave me a better fit. It's just a smaller earpiece, and it has a smaller nozzle, and the nozzle is longer as well, so it gives me a deeper, more secure fit. Noise isolation is higher as well on the Performance 7. This kind of depends on the shape of your ears, you know, and I'm not representative of everyone's ears right here. Let's talk about the cables. Both of these have great cables. The T Pro has a modular cable that has swappable terminations, so it's going to be a bit more practical for use with more devices. It's slightly stiff, it has some memory, but the cable of the Performance 7 is not modular, but it's softer and doesn't have any memory, and it's a bit easier to manage. So these are small details. Let's talk about the most impressive or most important aspects, which is the sound quality. How do they sound? I will start with the bass. I think the T Pro takes the win when it comes to the bass. Basically, the mid bass of the T Pro is punchier, it's more impactful, it has better texture and better detail. The bass of the Performance 7 also has great texture and great punch, but it's not at the, you know, the same strength that the T Pro has. The T Pro just sounds a bit stronger when it comes to the bass punch and impact. I will say the bass of the Performance 7 is a bit more balanced between the sub bass and the mid bass, and if you like that, you know, sense of dynamic slam and energy, you're going to love it on the T Pro. But if you like something that still has great texture, great punch and slam, but sounds a bit cleaner and balanced between the sub bass and mid bass, you might enjoy the Performance 7 more. When it comes to the mid-range, the T Pro here does have a mid-range that sounds a bit more open. It's a bit more airy, especially when it comes to the female vocals. But when it comes to the Performance 7, the vocals here kind of pop out more from the music. They kind of stand out from the rest of the music. The instruments as well kind of pop up more. The overall mid-range on the Performance 7 does sound a bit more more rich and natural to me. It does have better timbre when it comes to the instruments, and the male vocals specifically do sound a bit more natural on the Performance 7. When it comes to the treble, the Tea Pro has an airier treble. It sounds more airy, but it could be a bit more emphasized and a bit too much for me, and it could get a bit fatiguing if you are treble sensitive like me. When it comes to the Performance 7 here, of course, the planar tweeter here sounds a lot more detailed. It sounds a bit more natural. It sounds crisper, has better defined, well-defined notes. It sounds smoother as well, and it's easier to listen to. It never sounded fatiguing to me. It never sounded harsh and not sibilant to my ears. When it comes to the overall sound presentation and tuning, both of them have similar tuning on paper, but I will describe it like this. I will describe the Tea Pro as punchy, dynamic, airy, but does occasionally become fatiguing depending on what you're listening to. And with the Performance 7, I will describe it as a bit smoother. It's a bit fuller. It does sound more natural, has better timbre, and it's just easier to listen to. When it comes to the detail and separation, man, this is a toss-up, all right? The Tea Pro excels when it comes to the bass detail, all right? And the Performance 7 shines when it comes to the treble detail. So depending on the track you're listening to, one might sound more detailed than the other. For example, if you're listening to a track that has a lot of bass content, you might feel that the Tea Pro is a bit more detailed. If you're listening to a track that has a lot of treble content or is a bit more balanced, doesn't have that a lot of bass, you're going to feel the Performance 7 is a bit more detailed. At the end of the day, it's a close call. An A/B comparison is the best way to spot these differences. Let me bring another IM here for the comparison segment, which is the Elysian Pilgrim. Kind of roughly lands around the similar price range here. So when I listened to the Pilgrim after listening to the Tea Pro, the first thing that, jumped at me is how much more the treble sounded relaxed to me. Now, don't get me wrong, the Pilgrim still has a lot of great treble extension, but it sounded much more easier to listen to without any fatigue, and it didn't have any emphasized S letters, any sibilants or anything like that, so I could turn up the volume, enjoy the music without fatigue. The mid-range on the Pilgrim sounded a bit more natural to me with better timbre. Sub-bass quality is noticeably better, and on top of that, the Pilgrim sounded a bit more detailed, has better separation, and even the stage sounded more open and airy. The Tea Pro, though, brings more bass quantity to the table, and this makes it a lot more fun when it comes to the low end. So if you're listening to a lot of tracks that are bass heavy or things like EDM or hip hop, the Tea Pro is going to sound a bit more energetic in the low end, and it's going to sound a bit more fun. So if you want that extra low end thump and slam, the Tea Pro delivers. But for a more refined, detailed, natural, non-fatiguing listen, for me personally, I think the Pilgrim is the winner here. Now let's talk about who I recommend this to and who I do not recommend this to. I recommend the Tea Pro. Number one, which is the standout feature, is for bass lovers. If you enjoy punchy, impactful bass, I feel the Tea Pro here delivers with a strong, powerful, punchy mid-bass impact. Number two, if you like a neutral with a bass boost type of sound, which is my favorite tuning. Number three, if you like an all-rounder IM, if you want something that will play well with most music genres out there, I think the Tea Pro does that very well. Number four is for gamers. Because of the stage and because the imaging is precise and the layering and separation you get, the Tea Pro is excellent. The spatial cues are really impressive, especially when you game. And when you game is different than music. When gaming, you're going to notice the imaging a lot more because, the action is more fast-paced. So you're going to notice that more. Number five, I do recommend it for people who like an airy treble. They like that, open, airy sound. You're going to get that here. And number six is people who like a metal build, because the metal build of the Tea Pro is a standout feature. Now, who I don't recommend this to. Number one is if you're treble sensitive, like me, if this is something that bothers you, you don't want an emphasis on the S letter, on the sh letter, and it could be fatiguing for you, I don't recommend it. Number two, for people who don't like an emphasized bass, well, for me personally, it's very fun and I absolutely love it, but for some people, this amount of bass could be too much. Number three, people who want a lot of detail, or especially they want an IM that is top tier when it comes to its price bracket. Don't get me wrong, the Tea Pro is detailed, but like I said, there will be other IMs below or after that have a similar or even better level of detail. Number four, people who want a smooth treble, something a bit more relaxed, I don't recommend it. Number five is people who want a deep fit. This is going to depend on the shape of your ear, of course, but for me, the nozzle was a bit short. And number six, people who want something that's easy to listen to or fatigue-free. Again, this is going to depend on how sensitive you are to the treble, so it's kind of depends on you. Let's give this one a final rating, and you can look at the meaning of the ratings that I will put right here. And for me, I will give the Xenns Tea Pro a solid rating of 4 stars. This is a great sounding IM, and that concludes our review of the Xenns Tea Pro. Let me know what you think. If you have any question, leave it down below, and like and subscribe if you like the content. And until then, I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.